November the 22nd, 1963. A bright Friday afternoon, thousands of Americans lined the streets of Dallas, Texas. They had gathered to welcome one of the youngest and most charismatic presidents in American history. Just moments later, everything would change. Within seconds, gunfire shattered the celebration. The President of the United States, John Fitzgerald Kennedy, was struck down in broad daylight. Millions of Americans watched in horror as the news spread across television and radio. Some cried, some refused to believe it. Others immediately began asking one question: who killed the president? More than 60 years later, that question continues to divide historians, investigators, journalists, and ordinary people around the world. Was it truly the act of one lone gunman? Or was there something far bigger hidden behind that tragic day? Tonight, we travel back through history, not to spread myths, not to choose sides, but to carefully examine the facts, the evidence, the unanswered questions, and the assassination that forever changed America. This is the story of John F. Kennedy. John Fitzgerald Kennedy, known simply as JFK, was born on May the 29th, 1917. In Brookline, Massachusetts, he entered one of America's wealthiest and most influential political families. His father, Joseph P. Kennedy Sr., was a successful businessman, investor, and later served as the U.S. ambassador to the United Kingdom. His mother, Rose Fitzgerald Kennedy, came from another powerful political family in Boston. From an early age, competition defined the Kennedy household. The children were encouraged to excel, whether in academics, sports, or public service. John was intelligent, curious, and ambitious. Yet, throughout much of his childhood, he battled serious health problems. He frequently suffered from illnesses that kept him away from school. Doctors often worried about his condition. Few could have imagined that this often sick young boy would one day become President of the United States.
Kennedy entered Harvard University in 1936. There, he developed a deep interest in world politics, international diplomacy, and history. Europe stood on the edge of another devastating war. Kennedy closely observed the rise of Nazi Germany. His senior thesis examined Britain's lack of preparation before World War II. The research became a best-selling book, Why England Slept. It immediately established Kennedy as an intelligent young political thinker. Then, America entered World War II. Kennedy joined the United States Navy. He was assigned command of a small patrol torpedo boat, PT-109, in the Pacific Ocean. In August 1943, disaster struck. A Japanese destroyer rammed PT-109, splitting the boat in half. 2 crew members died instantly. The remaining sailors were thrown into dark waters. Despite suffering injuries, Kennedy refused to abandon his men. He swam for hours, pulling an injured sailor by gripping the man's life jacket strap between his teeth. Eventually, he led the survivors to a nearby island. Several days later, they were rescued. His courage earned him military honors, including the Navy and a Marine Corps medal. The story transformed him into a national hero. 1940s Boston, campaign headquarters, election posters, Kennedy shaking hands, factories, neighborhood meetings, the United States Capitol, Jackie Kennedy, newspapers, television interviews, narrator. When John Kennedy returned home, many believed his future would be in public service. Originally, the Kennedy family expected his older brother, Joseph P. Kennedy Jr., to enter national politics, but Joseph was killed during a military mission in World War II. His death changed everything. The responsibility for carrying the family's political ambitions now rested on John's shoulders in 1946. At just 29 years old, Kennedy announced his campaign for the United States House of Representatives. He traveled throughout his district. He met workers, veterans, small business owners, and families, listening carefully to their concerns. His youth, military service, and energetic campaigning made a strong impression. On Election Day, Kennedy won. He became one of the youngest members of Congress. Over the next 6 years, he built a reputation as a thoughtful, hard-working legislator. In 1952, he challenged Republican Senator Henry Cabot Lodge Jr. Despite being considered the underdog, Kennedy campaigned tirelessly across Massachusetts. When the votes were counted, he had achieved a remarkable victory. At just 35 years old, John Kennedy became a United States Senator. Soon afterward, his health declined again. Major back surgeries forced him into months of recovery. During that time, he read extensively, reflected deeply, and wrote a book celebrating political courage, published as Profiles in Courage. It later received the Pulitzer Prize for Biography. In 1953, Kennedy married Jacqueline Lee Bouvier, known simply as Jackie Kennedy. Elegant, intelligent, and deeply interested in history, art, and culture, she quickly became one of America's most admired public figures. Together, John and Jackie represented a new generation, young, confident, and optimistic. By the late 1950s, John Kennedy was no longer just another senator. He had become one of the Democratic Party's brightest rising stars. His speeches, his leadership, and his vision captured national attention, but an even greater challenge was waiting ahead: the presidency. We follow Kennedy's historic 1960 presidential campaign, the first televised presidential debates, his narrow election victory over Richard Nixon, and the beginning of a presidency that promised a new frontier for America.